What you're seeing is what the Marquette Interchange should look like in some 4 years. But for now, some 300,000 vehicles a day will continue to travel through the maze that's been here since 1965. Keeping traffic moving during 4 years of rebuilding the interchange presents a complex challenge to build a cost-effective and efficient interchange while keeping Milwaukee open for business into 2008. And you'll be seeing a lot of information come your way.
Every day we face challenges, and we approach each with a solution to keep going. The same can be said with the Marquette Interchange. Visit mchange.org or call the hotline to find an alternative to driving or to find the best way to get around the construction. Change your approach, not your destination.
The most noticeable work this year is not in, but around the interchange. You're already looking for an alternative to the West State Street I-43 southbound entrance ramp. It closed permanently in October. The northbound I-43 exit ramp through the tunnel to Kilbourne Avenue is closed. It will not reopen until July of next year. Also in October, the Valete Street, Winnebago Street Bridge over I-43 closed, not to open until 2006. Elsewhere, Torrey Hill Street, closed last April, reopens in December. The 16th Street Bridge over I-94, being replaced to accommodate more ramp lanes, closed in April. It will reopen in December. The realignment of Clybourne Street to accommodate the 2 ramp lanes to westbound I-94 has been going on since April. It is scheduled to open in November. The I-43 southbound exit ramp to eastbound Wells Street closes in November. It is also a permanent closing. If you use the Wells Street Bridge over I-43, start thinking of alternatives. It will close in November when Clybourne Street opens, as rebuilding of bridges north to Walnut begins. And West Canal Street from Ember Lane to 6th Street, closed to through traffic in October, will open in December. Those are the major events through January of next year. Other lane and ramp closures will start next spring and continue for 4 years in and around the Marquette Interchange. Joining me now to talk more about the challenges facing the Department of Transportation and drivers is Don Reinbold, Team Director for the Marquette Interchange Project. Welcome to our program, first of all.
Hi there.
Let's ask the why question, and everyone wants to know why the Marquette Interchange, why now?
The biggest reason to replace the Marquette Interchange now is the condition. It's been deteriorating for years, that most people can see by driving through it. We've done a lot of repairs over the years, and it's gotten to the point we just can't repair it any longer. We need to replace it.
It's an expensive project.
It definitely is.
Federal government's helping out.
Yes, the project right now is at $810 million, and the federal government is paying a little bit over 50% of the project.
We have seen in the last couple of years a lot of work around the Marquette Interchange also in preparation for this, right, on other freeway segments.
That's correct. We started probably way back in '97 resurfacing each segment of Milwaukee County freeways, and each year we do a different segment, realizing that we had to have all the freeways in tip-top shape when we started the Marquette Interchange so that we're not impacting traffic as it's diverted away from the Marquette Interchange. We also met with local units of government and let them know what we're doing, when we're going to do it, so they could schedule their construction activities accordingly.
The major impact will come starting next year, right?
That's correct, in 2005.
We've been seeing some lane and ramp closures this year, and that's all preparatory work as well?
That's correct. We're doing a little prep work on Clybourne Street, and the reason for that is we needed to relocate 8 utilities. And so we wanted to get that utility relocation out of the way early, and along with that we're doing the 16th Street Viaduct over I-94, and all getting that kind of work done ahead of schedule.
After 35 years, a lot of wear and tear on the Marquette Interchange, and why is it so important that this work be done?
We're getting to the point that the interchange is deteriorated to the point that if we don't start replacing it in a very short period of time, we're going to need to post it for no trucks. And that would just be disastrous to the economy of the region and the state to have an interstate highway posted for no trucks. So we really need to get on with the project and keep it on schedule.
It's a major hub, not only for the state, but for this region, I would think.
That's correct. It's very, very important to not only southeastern Wisconsin, but a lot of the commerce that comes into the state comes through the southeastern part of Wisconsin, and of course that means the Marquette Interchange.
And probably making it more difficult for you, as it's difficult for the drivers, you hope to keep 2 lanes open in 4 primary directions at all times. Again, that importance, I guess, because of the importance of that intersection.
It is very important. We identified that very, very early in our study process. Some of the public started thinking we're going to close the interchange and rebuild, and obviously we can't do that. We need to keep traffic moving, we keep mobility working, keep Milwaukee open for business, so we identified very early to keep these 2 lanes in each direction open. In addition to that, we're going to keep 2 of the 8 ramps open throughout the project. We are going to close lanes and ramps at night to erect girders or to drop bridges, so of course, and we'll do that at night when there's little traffic out there.
Public information has been a major concern of yours for the past couple of years and will continue to be for the next 4 years, I would guess. As part of that, you give presentations to groups. You spoke to the Milwaukee Aldermen earlier this year. Give us a little bit of that presentation, if you would.
You're absolutely right. Public information is very, very important, and we will go anywhere at any time to speak to any group so that we can share information in addition to our normal outreach activities. You can see here the Marquette Interchange from the air. A lot of you drive through it, but you don't see it from the air. It's quite a project. You can see in the bottom of the screen the new Marquette Interchange logo, and you'll be seeing this on a lot of literature and ads as time progresses. The Marquette Interchange is going to be an entirely new type of interchange. We have a budget of $810 million from Governor Doyle. The biggest thing we're doing is we're moving all the exits to the right side. So you won't be able to exit on the left or enter on the right. On the left, you'll exit on the right and enter on the right. For example, if you follow the red arrows, if you're going east on I-94 right after 13th Street, you'll exit to go north. That exit is presently on the left. It will now be on the north. It'll be on the right. It will be a 2-lane exit. Actually travels to the lowest level of the interchange, goes underneath Michigan Street, and comes up on the right side of I-43. In addition to that, we're making the ramps in the interchange a little flatter so you don't have to slow down as much. And the idea is not that you go through the interchange faster, it's so that you don't have to slow down as much when you leave the mainline freeway and you don't have to speed up as much when you re-enter the freeway. The other thing we're doing with these ramps is we're making most of them 2 lanes with shoulder, replacing the 1 lane with no shoulders. And we're doing all this in almost the same space that's out there. You can see here we're freeing up 4 acres of land for other use. But we are purchasing some additional air rights in the Menominee Valley. We are going to change access points to get to downtown when we're done, and this kind of shows how that'll happen. If you're coming from the west, you can still exit at 13th Street, 6th Street, and James Lovell Drive. You will not be able to exit at Plankington from the west, but you'll be able to enter the Kilburn Tunnel. If you remember those red arrows, you come right up on the right side of I-43, right about the Kilburn Tunnel. From the west, you will be able to exit at Jackson Van Buren, Lincoln Memorial Drive, and the new McKinley Boulevard on the north. From the south, there will be a new exit at 10th and Michigan to replace the exit now into the Kilburn Tunnel. You will be able to get to Plankington from the south, Jackson Van Buren, Lincoln Memorial Drive, and the new McKinley Boulevard. From the north, you can enter downtown via the McKinley Boulevard. You will not be able to exit at Wells Street, but you will have a new exit at Highland, and then you can proceed down 11th Street to wherever you need to go. You will be able to exit at Plankington from the north, Jackson Van Buren, and Lincoln Memorial Drive. Now the outbound direction, to go north, you can get on at Lincoln Memorial Drive, Jackson Street, Plankington to go north, through the existing Kilburn Tunnel, a new ramp from Highland north, and from McKinley Avenue north. To go south, you can enter at Lincoln Memorial Drive, Jackson Street, Plankington. You will not be able to enter from State Street, but there'll be a new entrance from 11th and Wisconsin to go south. And you will not be able to make that left-hand entrance in the Hillside Interchange to I-43, but there'll be a right-hand entrance, so it'll be much safer. To go west, you can enter at Lincoln Memorial Drive, Jackson Street, You will not be able to go west from Plankington or the 8th Street loop ramp, but from 7th and Clyburn, you'll be able to slip right on to go westbound. The 13th Street on-ramp, the 17th Street on-ramp will be replaced by a ramp on 11th and Clyburn. So you can see we have just as many exits and entrances now that we did before the interchange, but we needed to move them around a lot to make everything much safer and much more efficient.
I wanted to ask you about the work that is being done around the freeway interchange already. This is a couple of years away from us right now, and the city has actually done some work on city streets in order to help with this project.
That's correct. We've been meeting with the city and the county probably monthly for the last 3 or 4 years. And so they've kind of adjusted their regular improvement program. But in addition to that, we've worked out a traffic mitigation plan with the city, and we're actually hiring the city to do some things on these alternate streets. We're making changes to traffic signals on, for example, 6th Street. We're eliminating some parking in the peak hour directions. We're retiming signals. We're adding left turn lanes. St. Paul is another example where we're going to be doing some things.
Clybourne, St. Paul, Water Street, a lot of activity on streets directly around the freeway to take some of that traffic off.
Yeah, because we know traffic's going to divert, and we want to help that traffic work flow better.
Right.
Our project schedule, you can see we completed our preliminary engineering, which included traffic mitigation, community-sensitive design, and our disadvantaged business enterprise planning. We're completing our final engineering. We did begin some preliminary construction in the spring of 2004, and our major freeway impacts on I-43 will begin in the spring of 05, and that's where we take I-43 down to 2 lanes in each direction, and all this work will be done in the fall of 2008. In 2004 here, you can see we're working on Clybourne and utilities and the 16th Street Viaduct, kind of some preparatory work. In 2005, we're going to start rebuilding I-43. We let about $100 million worth of work. That started in October, and it'll start on some of the cross streets over the freeway, and in the spring of 2005, we'll move the southbound traffic into the northbound roadway so that we can completely rebuild southbound lanes in 2005, along with a little bit on the westbound roadway. And then in 2006, we reversed that. We put the traffic in the southbound roadway and rebuild the northbound lanes of I-43. And in addition to that, in 2006, we're going to be working in the core of the interchange, the west leg, the south leg, the east leg. So we're going to be just about everywhere in 2006. 2007, we kind of shrink down and primarily working in the core, and we continue that through 2008. And this makes a really nice, colorful picture. It looks pretty simple, but I guarantee you this is one tough project. There'll be a lot of information flowing. We'll have maps like this. I know this is a little bit hard to read. That'll show what ramps are being closed at different times and what ramps open, and I'll talk about that a little more in a minute. We are working with the disadvantaged business enterprise community. We want to keep Milwaukee involved in this project. Milwaukee is a very diverse community. We wanted to make sure they're involved, so the department increased the money that they're putting into our capacity building of the DB industry, and we also increased the money into our program to develop people's skills so they can get entry-level jobs. So this has been going on, and some graduates from this labor training has already been hired in the Marquette Interchange. We're setting some small contracts, so smaller contractors and DBs can bid on them. We're setting higher goals on all of our contracts. Under community-sensitive design, this is what we're doing to make the freeway look better than it does today. We heard right early on that people wanted to have a better-looking freeway, so we had 2 different committees working with us, one on the east-west leg, one on the north-south leg, to get some ideas on what we could do to have this freeway fit into the community better. And you can see here some of the big things you'll notice, and the thing I like to see is these nice wrought iron fencing and screening instead of that cyclone fence. And the bridge piers all look a lot different, and then some other things on the bridge parapets and the street lighting. When we get up to Walnut Street, in the black community, we wanted to do something to really give recognition to the Browns Farm, which was an important stopping point in the Underground Railroad, and we've hired an artist to work with the art students in the school on Walnut Street to develop tiles with a dinker of symbols on that will be cast into the bridge parapet. So the students are actually making these tiles with the guidance of this artist. And then we hired another artist to make steel adinkrum symbols to be fastened to the railing. And the third artist we hired is going to put a mural on abutments where Fond du Lac Avenue goes under I-43. It won't be what you see here. It'll be a different type of mural, again depicting scenes from the Underground Railroad. And here you can get a real nice view of what the piers underneath the bridges will look like instead of the plain round columns. And you can see here the images of these murals on the on the Fond du Lac Avenue Bridge, again scenes from the Underground Railroad. The high bridges in the Marquette Interchange are going to have a relief in the center of it. When the architects came into town and saw the spires and steeples, they really wanted to replicate that in parts of the bridges, and that's why you see this definition given to our high columns to replicate that. We're doing a lot of things for traffic during construction. As you mentioned earlier, 2 lanes open in each direction at all times. In addition to that, we are going to keep the 2 ramps open, but we are going to keep Milwaukee open for business during the entire construction. We are going to keep 2 lanes open eastbound, 2 westbound, 2 northbound, 2 southbound. In addition to that, we are going to keep open the ramp from the west to the north and from the north to the west. These ramps carry about 4 times the traffic that the other ramps do, so they're very, very important. So we're going to keep them open by means of temporary bridges to keep that traffic moving. All the other ramps in the interchange are going to close for different periods of time, ranging from 1 year to 3 years. And that's the type of movement, people that are using those ramps, those are the ones we really need to communicate with, so to help them find the best way to get downtown and avoid this, because obviously their ramp is going to be closed for a period of time. And that's what our public outreach is going to do. We had 4 committees working on traffic mitigation to look at what we can do to keep Milwaukee open. And one is to look at freeway operations and how to keep the freeway working. One is to work strictly on public information. We're working with the bus companies for transit options, and we're also working with the city on the local road options. Public information is probably the most important thing. We need to tell the community what we're going to do, when we're going to do it, how we're going to do it, and how you can, get to where you want to go. And all the typical things that we've done on other freeway projects are listed here. In addition to that, we're going to have an interactive website. It's up and running, and you can go on this website, mchange.org, and get instructions. If you say where you're coming from and where you're going, it'll draw you a map and give you directions. And if you give us your computer information, when we change access to downtown, we'll send you a message saying it was changed, and you can get online again and upgrade and get new directions. Of course, if you don't have a computer, we also have a hotline where you can call and get the latest up-to-date information. This is a view of our page on the website. Again, it's mchange.org. We've hired different community outreach consultants to work with us in the community. We hired a firm to work with the south side. We hired a firm to work with the north side. Bid 21 to work with downtown businesses. Marquette University, because they're in one whole quadrant of the interchange. And we hired a firm to work with the Hmong community. We're working with the bus company to enhance not only freeway flyers, but some local bus service to encourage people to maybe get out of their car and take a bus. We had some pretty good successes during some other freeway projects, and we're hoping people can change their mode during this project. And again, here we're working with the city on alternate routes. We have 6th Street here, which used to carry 50,000 vehicles a day when the freeway ended at North Avenue. And you can see here, if we eliminate parking, we can get a lot of traffic on 6th Street. So you can really avoid the construction by going to 6th Street. And really, when you're on 6th Street, you really are downtown. You can get to anywhere you need to go. So that's how we're handling it. And we're working with the Milwaukee County Sheriff to clear incidences, keep traffic moving during construction. And that's usually a kind of a shortened version of a presentation that we give to any group that wants us. Either myself or one of the Marquette Interchange team members can go anywhere and answer anybody's questions.
What kind of questions do you normally get when you're out on a presentation?
Well, some of the questions we get is, why is it taking so long? And I don't think the public realizes that this is the largest construction project undertaken in Wisconsin, $810 million. and it's a real challenge to get that amount of work done in 4 years. So it is going to take 4 years, and I think we could shorten it up a little bit, but then we'd have to close more roadways, and then it's more disruptive. But we want to do is keep everything moving as best we can, so Milwaukee stays open for business, and we can have this construction going on. The other thing people ask us is, well, is it going to be better? And it is going to be better. It's going to be a lot safer. It's going to be a lot more efficient, and it's going to eliminate the bottleneck that exists there today.
There are a number of them.
You bet.
What are the concerns that people have? Is it getting to work on time? Is it getting from point A to point B? What kind of questions or comments do you get along those lines?
I think it gets really basic. People ask, well, I come from here and I go here. How am I going to get there during construction? And if we can get people to be that specific, we can help them. And we can usually give them a couple alternate routes from each direction. For example, coming from the north, if we get off at North Avenue and take 6th Street. If we're coming, or you can take Lincoln Memorial Drive. From the south, maybe we get off on 6th and National or something, or we take the Lake Parkway. There's a lot of different options for people to take, and you just have to kind of talk to people, because you know we all kind of get into a habit of going one way to work, and what we want to do is kind of change those habits. Not change that they're going to work,
right.
Just change how they get there.
What will this mean to the metropolitan area to have a new freeway here?
I think it's going to be really neat when it's done. First of all, we're going to have just a brand new infrastructure downtown. You have to look at this. This is the biggest thing in Milwaukee. And this is going to look a lot better. It's going to work a lot better. And I think everybody's going to feel really good about it when it's done.
We're talking again a lot about public information, and you have informational meetings, and I'm sure you'll be having them for the next few years.
Continued
brochures, TV advertising, the website, a lot of activity to let people know what's going on.
You're absolutely right. That's really, really important to the public, to let them know what's happening and when. And like you said, TV, radio, newspaper, flyers, internet, hotline, it's all there.